Welcome to episode 11 of What If Civilization Started Over. This is the second part where we will discuss what will happen in the Second Great War. And after that, there will most likely be a great amount of time peace. Because to have constant war in a world is not that realistic. But let's get on to the point. The alliance map is now looking like this, with the crossed Pact or the Southern Pact really having an advantage. Both brown and red are really strong, but blue, dark blue, is a really strong country as well. But then we have the Shield Pact, and that's a great pact that's really scared for invasion by other countries. But we will first look at the purple/orange/brown conflict right here. Our brown troops are getting really close towards the original orange team again, and they got a great amount of land from them. And they are just pushing through the land of orange, and they also got their land back, what the orange were able to get. But it was hard for them to get this land back here in England. They pushed towards magenta, they wanted to get to the capital. But here in the south were just too many troops, but here they were getting really close to the Alpine Mountains, where it was also just really hard to move through. So magenta was looking great here. Sorry, there was a burp in my sentence. So the brown team was going to focus more towards orange than towards magenta. They were getting close towards the capital because they had this city in the last episode, but they weren't really able to get it back. But they were daring to do something really great for them. They wanted to sail across the ocean towards this major city and take it. And a small army was able to land here, but they were quickly overrun by the orange team. So the brown team was not able to get across the ocean because orange was protecting their coast really greatly. Still, gold was not attacking the orange directly because they were really scared of their old friend Grey that can just fight and get through their land towards their capital. They knew Grey was a little bit stronger than gold. While this was happening, no one in the lavender team had any clues that there was a war. They were really looking for more people here at the purple team. But the purple team was sort of preparing to get involved with this war. They were scared that the blue team, the dark blue team, will just invade them because of course they are from the Southern Pact, and the Southern Pact is, if you remember, not so nice anymore. Also the light blue country and the yellow country were still waiting for an attack, but they were not getting involved at the moment. But after a while, brown was able to get the settlement back they got in the last episode, and they even got more towards the coast where they were able to land but not where they were able to stay, but they got the coast, so via the sea. Now more troops were getting over the sea towards this settlement to capture it, and that worked. The brown team was fighting rapidly, and they were so close towards this capital that the orange team really had to do something. The troops left England, so brown got it back, and they were fighting back here in the Netherlands. They were able to get a great portion back before it was in the danger zone, like this is the danger zone. But they were trying to get this settlement back, but that was just impossible. In the meantime, magenta got some land from the brown team because the brown team sort of left their focus on magenta and laid their focus on orange, because remember, this capital is just too hard to get nowadays. Magenta really wanted to help the orange before their capital fell in hands of the brown team. But more and more troops arrived from the blue team, the red team and the gold team, and the orange team was just too weak to stop the brown team from invading them. And they were now in the danger zone of their land, and they were really scared to lose their great capital that they built all those years back. And they were getting encircled by the brown team. In the meantime, they were trying to get the last settlement that was really close towards these four. Luckily they didn't got this settlement, but they were so close towards the capital that the danger zone was reached and they were encircled by the brown team. It was just a matter of days before Orange would fall in the hands of Brown, of the Southern Pact. And after a great fight, the whole country of the Orange team fell towards the Brown team, or the Southern Pact. Orange lost the Second Great War. They were defeated. So let's look at the second peace treaty of this war, with just one more coming up as well. And this is how it was looking like. The Brown team got a great, a more amount than they actually hoped for from the Orange team. And Orange had to relocate their beautiful capital city towards the most major city they had. But you also can see a brown line running between the border of Magenta and Orange. That means that Brown actually owns the land where Orange is, but they left it towards the Orange to run it for themselves, but they had to follow the orders of the Brown team, and they also had to join their alliance as well. So although Orange was in the Shield Pact, they had to leave it because they were in the hands of the Brown team. And it was worrying, especially for the Shield Pact, that they lost a great fighter of theirs. And now it was just the Southern Pact with Orange. And although it's not really, you cannot really call it anymore a Southern Pact, they were still called like that because of their main team is still living in the south. Orange lost and is sad, but they had to follow orders. And Brown also got some land here in Denmark and in Sweden because they really wanted a border with the gold team. And now they can sort of give stuff to each other really easily without going overseas, because they had to travel like here. Oh, that's an eraser. But yeah, right, now you can just give it to them via the border. They can cross this little part of the sea, they can cross this little part of the sea, but that's not really needed as well, because they can pass through Orange because it's their country, but just with another name, like a puppet state, how Addis Pro is also calling it in his series. The war is almost over, only one front is left here at Magenta, and Brown was just like, forget it, Magenta, you cannot fight me, I cannot fight you, let's hold you back and let's see how long you can last. Before the Brown team gave up, they got their settlement from the Magentas. The Magenta team was just too strong. They were not able to get any more land what they lost. And they lost the settlement right here that they were able to get earlier in the war. I think this was originally from the Magenta team, so that's not really a bad thing for them. But they wanted this one. They wanted this settlement because it was really close towards this island. And this island that was ruled by the Dark Reds, but the Dark Reds were not able to get any more land back yet. So the Brown team just gave up. They made a sort of peace treaty with Magenta, and it was looking like this. An ugly border. They agreed on that, but it was a war. It ended right there and then. But still, one more conflict was here. The Dark Reds. They lost land right here. They lost land here in the north, and also them were kind of tired of fighting, and they wanted an ending of this war. So what they did, they were able to get this small part of the island back, and they were able to get a little more land out of this, but not more than that. The rest they lost, and they just got the land they wanted and left the Magenta team alone. So the Magenta team was like, fair enough, we got this, let's do not fight anymore, just for now. So the world was looking like this. Almost every country did something in the war, indirectly because of the alliances, and it was pretty clear that the world was not really much expanded. Like, there is still a great portion of Africa to claim, Asia, and still the Americas are there to be found. The world was so busy with internal and not internal conflicts that they forgot about just expanding and travel the world. But one country did not forget that. So let's see what they did in the meantime. They had no clue there was a war. The Lavender team. They were able to get a little bit more of the coast of nowadays India, and they were just more and more going towards the north and to see what's there to claim. And they were still sort of scared that they were going to be attacked by the purple team. And the purple team was really scared that those unknown men, unknown women were able to get to their land. So they asked the blue team, hey, can you help me? And the blue team was like, what did you find? Another unknown civilization? So a few men of the blue team were able to get along on a journey with the purple team towards this great lavender team to see, okay, what's up there? What's going on? The blue team traveled here, without claiming it of course, but just to mark it. And they got to this gate where they met a border of course with the lavender team. And they looked towards those people. Those people just had another way of living. They were different. They had different clothes than everyone. They wore different weapons. Like the weapons really were not really refined. They were rough, but still really deadly. They were talking like them. Unlike the gold and gray team all those years back did. But still, why were they so different from all those other humans they encountered through the millennia now? They didn't attack each other here at this gate. They were just looking at each other. Like, imagine seeing people on a stone wall. You look up to them, you watch them, you just look each other in the eyes for 10 or 20 seconds. And the blue and purple team turned around and walked back peacefully. So, no conflict, you may think. Well, no. The lavender team got their bows, shot the men in the head, claimed their land, and that was it. The men were killed. Blue eventually realized my men didn't came back, and they were like, Purple, what did you do? Purple also said, we didn't got our people back. They looked at each other like, what the hell is happening now there in the east? Blue was not happy. Blue was for sure not happy. So they were like, okay, I will get some men from my allies, the dark red, the brown and the gold team, to just see what's there. Then if we are with more people, we maybe can intimidate those unknown people. So what I just said happened. The war was now over, so the reds, the dark reds, the brown and the golds were able to miss some people. Some great people they knew in their lands. They traveled towards this now new border, but the wall was still like there, something like there. And it was like, just a stare down again. The lavender team did not attack at first. This time, just some men from the golds traveled through the wall. They were let in by the lavender team. And they all eventually passed through the wall and got to this settlement right here. They talked with each other because they can understand them. The gold team also learned a little bit of the language what all these civilizations were using before they came across the dark reds, and the golds and the greys. And it became a tense conversation. They sort of saw that these people were living completely differently. And the lavender team came across new knowledge, what was actually happening in the world, that there was like a greater civilization. Remember, they forgot. They're totally not remembering that they went off course because of a storm and that they landed right here somewhere. They did forgot. Those people were all forgotten and already dead. So the dark reds, the golds, the browns and the dark blues turned around again, left the gate, walked a little bit more, and they were killed again. The lavender team now knew what was on the other side of their border. Not just one country, not just two anymore they knew like these. They knew before that there was like a purple team and a blue team, but now they knew there were much more greater guys. Those men were killed, all those men were killed, and eventually all the Southern Pact knew about that. And they were like, let's not bother about it. We just ended one war, let's not get in another one so quickly. And after a while they just forgot about it. But of course the lavender team was growing rapidly again. And after a while they got some great land once more. And after some months passed, without any new civilization popping up at the gate, they got some more, and they got some more, and they got even more. They did not stop expanding their land. Some of the lavender team did adventure a little bit more towards the purple team and eventually noticed these three civilizations, and they were great. They turned around and they sort of knew, let's not get in touch with those before we get other people at our doors. So they were going towards the east. They were traveling by coast this time, just to see how large this coast was, and it went really far south. They got these islands as well, and eventually they got as far south as they thought it was going to go. So they claimed all the land, and it went up. They claimed even some more land, and it was looking great for them. They even expanded some more with some great settlements. And after many years without knowing what was happening in the outside world, and spoiler alert, there was not much happening other than exploring, what we will cover pretty soon. But this lavender world, land, country, whatever, was growing. And eventually they started to see what they missed. Their weapons, what I said, were rough. They were worse than the other weapons they eventually took from the man they killed. And they started to investigate how can we replicate these weapons. And after that, they experienced some more. They just were learning from those weapons and got more weapons. And eventually those weapons that they found and that they took actually were worse than their weapons now. Their technology was going rapidly. They were going fast in just exploration, in technology, in wealth. They just traded with themselves, but damn, the people were getting rich inside this land. Not really smart, because they sort of knew there was a great civilization in the northwest, but that was it. And this land, oh boy, no spoiler alert, it will be great someday. But let's see what the pink and green country will do, because we did not really have that much going on for them in the last few episodes. They claimed some more land against the border of Cyan, and Cyan did not really expand up in the north anymore, because their land was already pretty big and they were just focusing on themselves and just with technology. So Green got a great portion of land here in the north, and they claimed it for themselves, and they were just going further and further until they got to the other border of the Cyan team. But the Cyan team didn't really notice them at their border, so the green team went further along and got towards purple. But purple did notice, because in the meantime, a settlement was right here. And eventually, the green team could talk finally directly with the purple team. And some more people started to talk with each other, and they were getting friendly. So green started to just settle right here, and they were starting to trade with each other. They brought supplies back and forth. Green got stuff that they never had before, and also purple did, so they were learning from each other. Also green started to just experiment even more and eventually even more. They got to these lakes and they got back, and they were just doing nice. And after a great while passes, more settlements were starting to pop up, also in this new area, but not many. And these two settlements were getting really close with each other. They traded a lot. And although there was a border here with even a little fence the purple team made, they ignored it. And because of all this, you can maybe guess it, these two teams wanted to merge. And yeah, they did. And this whole part of purple and green merged together into neon green. This is not lime. This is also a different color here. Purple was actually fine with it. They did trade with this area. They did use the area, but they knew if we go against them, we can maybe have an internal conflict. And they remembered some internal conflicts that happened all those years ago that they knew about. So they were like, go on, please go on. And they were able to get a border. And this new land also have a little border with blue. So we have another new country right here. And they were now on their own, and so they could trade with Cyan. This part of Cyan did not want to separate from the whole part of Cyan, of course. Not everyone wants to just separate. So with all the time that passed by, this land started just grow and grow and grow. And got a great portion of land, of course. They ventured more towards the east here, and these people to the south. And after months, they wanted this part of the world, and they made it theirs. But I also said that I wanted to talk about before we ended this episode. So yes, I will. If you look at the alliance map, pink and grey are on good terms with each other right now. They actually like each other. They were getting to like each other even more. And this part of grey got really close with pink. And this part of pink got really close with this part of grey. So you can guess what will happen. These two will merge together into dark pink. And you may ask, why are there so many separations and the countries themselves are like letting them do that? Well, there are no provinces, so they are like just take a part you want. Let's, of course, talk with each other what we can miss. And the pink team also just was like, it's a hard part to manage for them. They were not really great at managing their not so big, but pretty big country. So they were able to lost a part. But there are no provinces yet. And because of the Great Second War, the world was realizing maybe we have to just manage our world with some inner borders as well, instead of just our main country borders. So next episode, so in between episodes, I will draw provinces. Of course, in universe, that's not really going to happen from one day to another, but for the series' sake, it will. So all these countries will eventually have borders and provinces, but you can guess which country maybe will not have those. Lavender, because they are not really talking with all the others. The news crossed the world. The Southern Pact heard about this thing that Pink wanted to do, because Pink was the one coming with this idea. They crossed this idea towards Green, towards Cyan, and Cyan crossed it towards Magenta. And although the Southern Pact, or aka here Orange, are enemies, the civilians were still talking towards one another. So the idea spread, and this will be like a part of like 50 years, 30 years. So in universe it will take a while, but for the next episode it will be done. And this was the episode for today. Maybe a bit more explaining than I usually do, because I like to have a little bit more like a mysterious vibe towards this series without really explaining stuff outside universe perspective. I want to do it like with an in-universe perspective, but sometimes this is necessary. Next episode we will see what the world will finally do, which is expanding, and maybe a little bit internal conflicts, but no war will happen in a few episodes, to just focus on giving this world a load of more colors, because this is not really how it was looking like in the 800s in our world, I think. I came across this, like there were more people in India, but in my timeline there were more people in Europe, and Africa is not really explored as well. So if this is lore accurate, if this is real world accurate, well, it cannot really be, because this is a fan fiction, but still. The Americas were not discovered yet, although there are people living here. Although people are here in America, they were not discovered yet. This was the episode for today, and I will see you all in the next episode. Bye bye!